Now, Aneeta, before we find out a little bit more about your charity, I want to find out about you. Did you grow up in London?
I did. I was born in London. I was born in Bethnal Green. I used to say, God, why didn't my mum get on the tube and go to a bit more of an affluent tube station and have me in a better hospital? No, I'm really proud to be a Londoner. I'm really proud to be a Cockney, actually.
So whereabouts in Bethnal Green?
It was in Prime House, so it was just opposite Cambridge Heath Road, where the railway stations are. So.
And what was that like? What was life for you there, growing up? Was it a council estate, private property?
No, it was in a two-bedroom council house, and I shared a flat with my sister and my parents, my mum and dad, and it was a really happy childhood, actually. I remember we weren't very well off, but that was okay because we were surrounded, and I now looking back at that, surrounded with lots of love and happiness and pretty good grounding, actually, from very loving and very hard-working parents.
So tell me about your parents then. Obviously they weren't born in London or in England even.
No, my dad was born in Himachal Pradesh and my mum was born in Jalandhar, and they came over to India in the 60s, and they came over to England in a time when they were looking for accommodation and somewhere to live, where it said, you know...
So here we go, that's them there.
Yes, God, wow.
They look that looks so gorgeous. They look beautiful.
Yeah, I've been blessed with really beautiful parents.
And how young were they?
Really young. My mum was 16 when she got married, and my dad was several years older. My dad had his own college in India. He was a principal of a college called the Republic College of India, and my mother was one of his students, actually.
Is that how they met?
Yes, that's how they met.
So what brought them over to London?
My dad came over to help his younger brother with their education, and they ended up staying. But in London at the time, when they were looking for accommodation, it was on the streets, and when you're looking for housing, it had, you know, no dogs, no Irish, no blacks, and that was the kind of things that they had to face when they came over.
And how did they deal with that? How did they find somewhere in the end?
Well, they managed to share a house with somebody, and they had a room, and that's all it was when they first came over. And my father had his own college in India. He had his own principal. He was very highly educated, but his qualifications weren't recognised in the UK, so he ended up doing all kinds of jobs just to put food on the table. So he ended up working in a brick factory, he ended up working in a plastic factory, he ended up getting TB, being critically ill for quite a long time.
Wow. And
my mother had never worked and then ended up working in a laundry. So they took any kind of job that there was, you know, just to support us as children.
And how did that affect you at home then? How did it affect you as children, seeing that, watching that? Was that any influence to you whatsoever?
I think it really showed me that hard work doesn't kill you. It's kind of, you know, going to work is something we have to do, and any job will be okay, and it's a way of progressing forward. And I think that's been a real positive influence in my life, actually, because despite adversity, they managed to break through that, and you know, it's been a really positive experience for me growing up in London.
And we've got a picture of your dad now. He's standing at the actual school that he was the principal of. Can we get that picture up? No, we don't have that yet, but yeah, he was quite influential. Had a real big job. What brought him over to London then? Why did he choose to leave that to come over here?
I think he came over to London really because he wanted to, when he had children, when he had me, we had a really good education, to see what other opportunities there were in the world. That's my nephew, Rishi, and my dad.
Aww.
My nephew's 19 now, actually. That was quite a few years ago. I lost my dad 10 years ago, so that's been a really difficult thing to face, but...
When he passed, did that really bring back to you what kind of influence he had in your life growing up?
I think it did. I think it was... I think all the way through his influence was there, but when he died in Himachal Pradesh. He'd fulfilled a dream. He built a college in the village, in our village in Himachal Pradesh, called the Republic College, and it was for girls. And the reason he wanted to have a college there was that's the college there that he built and designed himself, and my dad standing outside. And the reason he really wanted a college, because girls were getting married far too young, and the only way to stop that was through education. And so having a college, and it was mainly doing teacher training, so young women could get married, go to college, have a good education, and they could still carry on working. So it was a way to get women out of poverty and give them their own, you know, rights as well.
When you say far too young, that's interesting. You know, your mum was 16 when she married your dad.
Yeah.
So when you say young, was it younger than 16?
Some people do get married than younger than 16, you know, and so... But he just felt education was the most important gift that anybody could have, because it could take you out of adversity or anything else. So.
And it's interesting that he was actually campaigning for women That must have had some kind of effect
It
on
must
you.
have done. I mean, at the time I wasn't aware of it, but it obviously has had a profound effect on how I've been brought up. But he was always fighting for the underdog and always trying to help other people. I mean, when we came over, I remember as a child we had streams of people coming into a house because they couldn't fill forms in or didn't know how to do this, and my mum used to take people to doctors or to the hospital because she would do translating for people. So it was always that kind of helping and nurturing people.